Thank you so much, viewers. Welcome to yet another edition of the SGN Week in Depth, and I am your host, Salim Sonko. And then today, as usual, we'll be taking you through the stories of the week, and then we're going to have an interview with Sabali and then Dewusedile of the UK. Thank you so much, and then welcome our to the SGN Week in Depth.
Thank you very much, Salif, and good evening, viewers. And it's another beautiful Sunday, and we are here to give you a review of our week's stories with me.
How was your week like? How was the week like for you?
Alhamdulillah. Well, writing, coupled with school, it's not easy, but well.
Yeah, exactly. So I was straight into business like usual. I think we're still talking about almost same thing over and over. But then this week there is a bit of changes in the headline. We can see there is more talking about the upcoming demonstration. And also we see candidates of the United Democratic Party. I mean submitting their bid to run for the Brikama Area Council. Starting with that, we go with Yankuba Dabo, who also showed interest to run in the upcoming Brikama Area Council chairmanship elections. Take us through that story and then we move.
Yeah, so Yankuba Dabo is a legal practitioner in the UK as well as in the Gambia. And in a Facebook page, he actually announced that he has accepted the challenge to run for the Brikama Area Council election, the Brikama Area Council chairmanship election. So he's also an executive member of the UDP and has announced that he's actually going to run under the UDP ticket. In fact, initially, at least 6 other aspirants has also announced their interest to run for the same chairmanship election under the UDP ticket.
Yeah, interesting. But then Yakuba is one of the founding members of the pressure group with 3 years judgment. He has done a lot for the Gambia. He went to prison even because of the 3 years judgment. So, and then we have also seen Amadou Skatet Jane, and then who's also an executive member of the UDP, submitted a bid to run. It's actually quite interesting in the camp
and
of UDP. Likewise, yeah.
Interestingly, the incumbent chairman, which is Sheriff Sonko, actually won the last government election under the UDP ticket, but he was later sacked for shifting his allegiance to the current president, President Barrow, and the NPP. So it's going to be an interesting race there.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Like, I cannot wait for the campaign to start. And then I've seen again, just because Yankuba has announced that he's gonna be running, and we've seen like there's some sort of a debate looming there. Say Ahmad Jesus saying that he will be ready to debate Yankuba Dabo at any platform. So that is the kind of politics we're actually looking for in the Gambia, and hopefully it's gonna be really fruitful. Yeah. So how we move to another story there, and that is okay. This is the article. Um, we have Lamin Tamba last week, and he has blasted the deputy speaker. That is Siri Jai for actually being disloyal, and also saying that Siri Jai actually had a fracas in the parliament with Tuma Jai, who is part of this narrative.
Yes, so he's actually a renowned member of the APRC faction that is still loyal to the ex-president Jame. Mr. Lamitamba has actually described his former party mate, which is Sidin Jai, as an opportunist actually, and he always wants to be in a side like close to power. So, in an interview with this medium, he described Sidin Jai's calling for the nation to apologize for the health minister as wrong because it was due to the minister's negligence that led to the death of the 70 plus children in the country. He even said that the minister and MCA director should be sacked with immediate effect, as it is conflicting for them to actually investigate their own crimes. So you will see that he is saying that if the health minister and MCA director are still holding their positions, the investigations can be compromised.
Wow, that was quite a story there. And then we have again the political scientist, Esa Jai. Esa Jai said IEC chairman and forced to resign. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, so he like this whole thing has been going on. In fact, there had been so much pressure on the IEC regarding the fact that the ruling NPP party has not held a congress since their inception 3 years ago. So he said that the IEC chairman Ali Mamanjai and his co-communist commissioners should actually resign for alleged competence and immorality. According to him, actually it was an interview with the local radio, and he said the IEC should actually be blamed for why the ruling NPP has still not held a Congress, because he said IEC actually failed to hold them to account because of the set failure to hold a Congress.
I think I've said this here last week. The IEC should stop actually trying to be like a controller. You're the one controlling, and you're the one that is supposed to check and balance political parties. But whenever it comes to one political party, you seems to favor them way more because we've seen where political leaders are not allowed to contest in elections because they have not met criteria. But again, they will do something contrary to what they stand for when it comes to the ruling party. So
Exactly, and
yes,
it will be interesting to know that Mr. Njai even said that the ICC initially admitted that there are political parties in the country that are not complying with the Electoral Act, and then the IEC is still not doing anything about it. And in fact, those are one of the things that caused his calling for Ali Mamanjai and other commissioners to resign.
interesting. So like we also have the chairman of the chairman of the victim for the 66 plus babies, saying actually blaming the election control agency for the misleading presser. Tell us about the story.
Yeah, before going to the chairman's words, I think it would be good to talk to tell the viewers about the content of that particular presser that he was talking about. The
Yeah.
Medical Control Agency, through Mr. Tijan Jalo, had earlier told journalists that the children who actually died from the AKI had not taken any medication manufactured by the Maiden Pharmaceuticals company. In fact, he said that 95% of the children who were affected were from flooded areas. So the victims campaign chairman, the 66 plus victims chairman reacted to this and said that it is very disappointing for the MCA to utter such statements in a situation as critical as this. And he in fact
But
challenged them to actually provide, yeah.
yeah, it seems that always when it comes to taking up responsibilities, I think Gambians have a problem with this. They don't want to take responsibilities when they fail. Like always try to apportion blame to one another. Like you are the medicine control agency supposed to control our medicines, but then you're saying that the contaminated cough syrup is not responsible for the death of these children. I think this is quite
It
irresponsible
is
of the medicine control.
it is shocking. It is shocking to learn just now that the NCA is telling us now, like, for this has been happening for a while, and they did not come out to tell us that this is the situation. And I don't know why it took them so long to actually come to the public to say that 95% of these children were from flooded areas, and that the most of them that died did not in fact consume the said medication. I think there is something wrong somewhere.
There's something wrong somewhere, and somebody must be held responsible. And like, yeah. Then we move to the next story. I was making around. Yes. So we have also the top epidemiologist, that is SG Silla. SG Silla said MCA established the causes of the actual deaths. Yes. So tell us about that too.
Exactly. Still talking about the same issue here. When the medical control agency held their pressure regarding what they recently told us that 95% of the children that are affected had been from flood areas, and that most of the children that actually died did not in fact consume the those medications. So top epidemiologist Sheikh Omar Silla had challenged the MCA to disclose the AKI deaths if they are saying that they are not. Because of the consumption of the contaminated drugs. He in fact argued that the MCA knew that if they knew that the syrups were not the causes of the deaths, then why did it take them so long to actually clear the air? Like I was saying, if they knew that this was the situation, it could have been announced a long time ago. And the fact that it is coming now would definitely bring a
But
lot
this
of
is kind of scary. It's like they do not even know what is the causes of the death. As like, okay, I don't know whether they're actually scared to say it's from the contaminated cough syrup. From all indications, what World Bank is telling us is like it's from the contaminated cough syrup. But again, the Medicine Control Agency trying to play ball around, telling us a different story. Is this not scary as far as
yeah.
medicine and health is concerned in the Gambia?
Yeah, so we heard that the World Health Agency actually related it to the contaminated syrups, and now the MCA is telling us that that was not in fact the case. So now, as it stands, they are telling us that it has not been known. It is not known the causes of those deaths, and now we have a question of 70 plus children dying without us knowing the exact reason. Because I don't think flood can cause this much disaster. I really don't think so.
Interesting. If you're just joining us, please do watch and share the stream. We have Mr. Sabali and Mr. Sewu Sidley that will join us later in the studios, let's say about 20 minutes time, inshallah. So then our moving on again, we have the minister telling the pressure group that their demands cannot be solved overnight. We know that there is a looming demonstration that's supposed to happen on the 11th of December, the 11th of November this month. We're going to deal with this in details with Mohammed Sabali and also Sewu Sidley. But tell us briefly, what does the information minister mean by their demands cannot be met overnight? Because this group is asking for transparency, they're asking for the president to to take corruption seriously, and they're also asking for price control. So tell us about it. It has been a very, very controversial week. Go ahead.
Exactly. So the said group you were talking about vowed to actually stage a peaceful demonstration on November 11th, sorry, over rampant corruption. You have poor living standards and inefficient health sector, as well as they are also calling for the investigation into the deaths of the 70 plus children. So the information minister described their demands as
Yeah.
like cannot be met overnight, and I think one reason that he gave was saying that the fact that the reason why he said they are unattainable overnight was because he said that food insecurity has is not only facing the Gambia. So according to him, food insecurity is happening in other places different from the Gambia. And we've even seen in another story where he was being interviewed with West Coast region, saying that the current hike in prices is in fact an opportunity for the young people to actually venture into agriculture. Where we've seen him where he specifically mentioned onions and said that the fact the it's costing $950 is a possible good news for people that are venturing in the onion production. So I think
But again, like
he's
our, are
trying.
you not surprised? Are you not surprised? The same statement by the information minister is the same someone, a close someone that was given by Bakausu in the state house. Let's just move to that story as well because we've seen Bakausu was arrested earlier, and then this Friday, sorry, the past Friday, I think he led the president in prayers, and he said he bragged and said Bakausu was in jail like in the south last week, 2 weeks ago, and today he's leading the president. Same Mutamala. So tell us about it. Why do you think these stories? I basically, is it a tactic by the government trying to bring Bakausu closer to them because they know that, um, especially the opposition, a lot of them, a lot of people that listen to Bakausu are mostly from the opposition. It could be one of those instrumental figures or instrumental voices that they could use to actually counter the demonstration. And then because he said the same thing, said that people have to go and work, and then agriculture would always help us to control prices and collect something like that. So tell us about that.
Exactly. I found it as so much of a coincidence because when you look at Backhouse's someone, he said that Gambians should actually go back to agriculture, to cultivate crops, and to even rear animals. According to him, every household in the Gambia used to have a particular set up a plot of land, like a particular area in their home where they used to cultivate crops and all of that. And he even said that every household in the Gambia used to have a hut sort of where they rear chickens and rear, rams and rear animals and sort of all of that. So he said that Gambians should now go back to that if they want these hike in prices to be solved, and if they want to be food self-sufficient, and that in fact he said that that will actually um, reduce the burden of their hopes on the government to actually solve these issues. He said when Gambians do this, they wouldn't even rely on the government to put in place price control measures or improve livelihood conditions.
Interesting. This is also another story that I'm gonna deal with Sabali when it comes on. Yeah. So our that would be the SIS and the police invited the press. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, so the group that we were just talking about, this particular group that vowed to stage a protest on November 11, they actually engaged
Yeah.
the state intelligence agency as well as the police, Gambia police force, and in fact, plus the Supreme Islamic Council as well. They met these three institutions, and according to a source that we've got, the
But
group had
again,
a closed door meeting.
yeah. Again,
They had
why
a
do you
yes.
think always? Why do you think, in your personal opinion, why do you always think that government, whenever they're a protest, they are always scared they would involve anybody? I don't know if the Catholic Relief Service or the Catholic community or the Methodist community is also going to invite these protesters to negotiate with them. But why do you think they actually see a demonstration as some sort of a threat to them? Because this is quite normal. Democracies come with, come with actually demonstration. If you want democracy, you have to be able to stand the heat of democracy. And I believe protest is part of the heat of democracy. Why do you think they're always scared when it comes to demonstration?
Most of the reasons they would give are security reasons, because if you look at it, in fact, the IGP of police initially refused to give the group a permit for the
Yeah.
demonstration, and he cited security reasons. Like most of the time, what they would cite is that the protest, you can actually plan to stage a peaceful demonstration, but then you never know who joins you, you never know who is thinking what, and then probably like in one area we could say that they are scared of violence being included in the peaceful protest, even though you are planning a peaceful protest. Anybody can join you, but in if you look at it in another way around as well, I think it is okay for citizens to voice their concerns when they have issues, because the things that these people are demanding, they are quite crucial. If you look at the hike in price in the country, it is basically affecting everybody. If you look at corruption,
Yeah.
it is rampant. If you look at the deaths
Yeah.
of the 70 children, it is high time that somebody or some group of people talk
Have to ask
about this,
questions.
because it is very
Yeah.
serious. It is very, very serious. So if even though, yeah, security reasons are very, very people need to be
But
mindful of
again,
this
I do
of
think this is
their
not a tactic
security, but
because
then
like they always say security reasons, right? They always say security reasons. But again, like we have a constitution that guarantees the right to protest, and that guarantees everyone that we have a right to freedom of movement. And then the police are supposed to be people that are going to be protecting us. So instead of actually protecting us, they actually, to me personally, I think it's just a matter of being scared of demonstration. Or Gambians naturally don't like to be held accountable. I think this is one of the problems that we're facing. Demonstrations are
It
quite
is. It
normal,
is.
but they always come to be tensions because the state will interfere and make it look like, this is very, very bad. Try to label people to say they don't love their country, that's why they have a demonstration. And in nutshell, it's actually the contrary. We will deal into this later
Yeah.
on with our guest, and
Sorry.
family.
If you look
So
at
our
it, protests actually
yeah,
protests expose issues that probably people don't know about. Let's say if these people during their protests, people can actually learn things that people did not know about, probably corruption, about the deaths of these 70 children, about the highs in prices. So I understand most Gambians might know about this, but there could be issues in these things that people do not know. So protests are actually, I personally would not say that I'm going to go against protests, because I think they are crucial. They bring out things that people might perhaps not know about issues that have been going on. So I just hope the IGP
yeah,
will
yeah,
give them permit for their
exactly,
demonstration.
exactly. So our I think we move quickly into sports, and we welcome our very good people. First, we have Husband Yai, the son of the late Biri Biri, on the score sheet for Bavista in the Portugal Premier League. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Yusufanja is the son of the late Biribe, like you said, who was widely regarded as the greatest footballer of all time in the Gambia. So he currently plays for Boa Vista in the Portuguese Premier League, and he had saved the day. Actually, he's come back to this course to actually save the day for his club in their last Sunday clash against Vizela. So his goal came after the match was in a tie. It was 1-1, and then but he scored a brilliant goal that gave them the win. And he's in fact currently his club's top scorer for this season with 3 goals in 6 appearances.
Amazing, amazing. Yusuf Jai is a very, very brilliant player there. So from Yusuf Jai, we move quickly to PSG Galaxy. That's the Steve Travelers Football Club, appointing a new coach. And then, yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, BSD Galaxy on the leadership
Can
of
you hear
Steve
me?
Crowley has. I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
Go
BST.
ahead.
We've seen a lot of development so far since Steve Trawale bought the Debo Oil. It was former Debo Oil, but now it's BST Football Club. He actually, first of all, he formed a management team where he appointed vice president. He himself was the president, and he appointed vice president and other members of the management team. But last week we've seen that he actually also appointed a, a head coach for the team. I think this has been the latest development so far regarding BST Galaxy, formerly Oil.
Interesting. So, yeah, so like we move to the next sports study. So tell us about the preparing the I think it's Hana FC started preparing over Falcons FC in the Gambian National Championship. Can you hear me? Awa? Hello?
Hello, sorry. Yeah, I can hear you now. I It must have been my connection.
Hello, Awa? Okay, good, good. Let's go. I said
Hello,
let's talk about the Gambian National Chance quickly. Give us the round of football chance, and then we can start the session.
sorry. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Hello. Hello.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I'm struggling to hear you. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too? Hello.
Hello, Salif.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
I don't know. Must have been the connection. Hello.
Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Viewers, I'm not sure if Salif is having some connection issues, but Salif, if you can hear me, I'm struggling to hear you right now.
Okay, wait.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you now, Salif. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. So let's go quickly. Tell us about your inhabitants in the Gambia. Then we can welcome somebody into the studios to finish it.
Yeah, so in the Commonwealth Estate sponsored knockout cup, we have handover FC, so showing superiority over Falcons FC. So both teams, um, yeah. So yeah. Sorry about that. I think
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm having issues. Yeah, so we've seen in the Combo Real Estate sponsored Nawetan Cup, we have Hanover FC showing superiority over Falcons FC. So actually, initially, the whole game was ended in a draw. It was a goalless draw. And then we saw in the penalty shootouts where Hanover FC converted all of their shots into a goal, while Falcons FC had like 3 goals and lost 2. So we saw Hanover FC winning in the penalty shootouts. Salif, can you hear me? Salif? Salif, are you still here? Viewers, if you're just joining in, we just we just finished the news review for the current affairs we were on sports, but I think our host has just left us because of connection issues. But do stay with us. We'll be having our guests later for a very fruitful discussion.
Sorry.
I think Salif is back.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Like my internet just suddenly went down. I'm trying to solve it. I don't know whether it's
Yeah,
tomorrow that is trying to
it's
crash our internet or something. Because I'm having issues the first time.
it's understandable. It's
Yeah.
quite
So yeah,
understandable.
have you already talked about the Navetan?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Or
So
should I
you
go over
just tell
it
us your,
again?
you just say bye bye to the viewers. Then we have Mr. Sidley for some.
Okay, thank you, viewers, for watching. It was a fruitful discussion with you, Salif, and I hope that the viewers feel the same. It's a goodbye from me until next Sunday, inshallah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Our and then we have a short commercial break. Then we can welcome Mr. Sidley and Sabali into our studios. Thank you so much. Our um yes. So okay, thank you, viewers. Thank you for joining us. And if you're just joining the stream again, please do like our page and then also share this. We will having weekly discussions on current affairs. So today our guest is Mr. Sehu Sedili of the United Democratic Party, a very strong supporter of the UDP, and also the PRO of the UDP UK chapter, former trade economist. Mr. Sedili, welcome. We are honored to have you here in the SGN Weekend. Hello.
Yeah, hi Salif.
Yes, your video is off.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, you're on now. Welcome.
yeah. Thank you, Salif, for my are we live? I think we are. Greetings to yourself,
Yeah, we are live. Yeah,
your
it's good to
esteemed
have you here
audience.
in our studios. Thank you so much for joining the SGN Week in Depth for
Mm-hmm.
this fifth edition.
Salif, I think your volume is low. I can barely hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, it's much better. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying welcome to the SGN Week in Depth. We are honored to have you around.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me,
Yeah.
and good evening to all your esteemed audience. And it's my pleasure to be part of this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Certainly, it has been an exciting week in the Gambia, especially from the UDP. Tell us briefly, because we have seen definitely a very quiet democratic process going on with the UDP currently, having to see a lot of people showing interest in the upcoming Bikama area council elections. What is your view of that quickly?
Thank you, Salif. Yeah, indeed. This is a week, like you said, very exciting. United Democratic Party, as the name implies, is a democratic party, and we're having all the regional congresses going on at the moment,
Yeah.
to be followed by the main congress
Yeah.
that should happen in December in Janjambore. And to be specific, to answer your question, in terms of the West Coast region, West Coast region, we have a lot of people who are vying or who would like to be selected as the UDP's candidate for West Coast. Um, but obviously, like the party leader said, I think when he spoke recently, the party would have to do the final selection. So all these people who are interested are all capable candidates. They are all bona fide UDP members. So obviously, it is going to be. I think it's going to be a very challenging one for the party to select. But we have trust and confidence in the leadership of United Democratic Party. I'm sure they're going to do due diligence and come up with the right candidate, a winnable candidate, so that we can just, because if you look at it, it's UDP that really won West Coast.
Yeah.
Serifo Sonko was UDP. He abandoned us. He betrayed us just like Adam Abaro did. So I'm confident that we will be like KMC, Banjul, and other areas. UDP will will win those seats. So, but like you said, I think we have really many interested candidates, which is good for
Definitely,
democracy.
like honestly, say when I saw that the interest in Brikama, I was surprised. I was really surprised to see the likes of Amadou Skaten Jan, like Yakuba Dabo. You have, other candidates like, Mr. Dabo, the other Dabo that participated in the 3 years gender protest. another dynamic woman, is something very, it's quite interesting. So, Mr. Sabali, you're also welcome to the SGN Week in Depth for the first time.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's an honor having you here as well. Quickly, Mr. Sabali, you also tell us, we've seen that you actually put up a very, very controversial post when we see Lamin Jai actually having to written a book about work and Keita. You were outright against that. Why were you against Lamin Jai's decision of writing about book Keita?
Well, thanks again for having me, and I'm glad to be on the same platform with my big brother, Sekou Sedili, an accomplished economist and well-experienced public servant who does analysis objectively, which enriches our public discourse. Yeah, on the Bob Keita issue, one of the things I cannot stand is hypocrisy. Because when the Bob Keita issue started, Lamin Jai was definitely clearly not on Bob Keita's side. And he did a lot of things to make life difficult for Bob Keita. And even during the trial, everybody who was even a casual observer would know that Lamin Jai was against Bob Keita. Now, it's only God who saves Bob Keita. But now that Bob is out of this and Bob is the man of the moment, he knows Bob is popular, anything about Bob will sell. He wants to publish a book about it. I call that witchcraft. So I'm totally against the book idea, and I'm advising anybody who loves or cares, who loves Bob or cares about Bob, not to patronize or support that book. And I'm very happy that there's an overwhelming condemnation of Lamin Jai's this really act of witchcraft. And I'm sure the project will die at birth. It's a moribund project.
Interesting. That is Babala Commando. And so, again, Mr. Sekou, back to you. The demonstrations of the upcoming demonstration in November 11 is what is making headlines now. We've seen, like we've reported earlier, if you're following the program, we've seen the State Intelligence Service invited the protesters. And again, the Supreme Islamic Council inviting protesters. Why do you think the government is always scared of demonstration?
Yeah, thank you, Salif. Okay, let me also seize the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of my very good brother, my younger brother, Mahmoud Sabali, former Secretary General, Head of the Civil Service, Director of Budget. He's also very accomplished young man, and the man who is definitely well known for standing up for the truth. And since we had this change of government, and up to now, Sabali's utterances and audios always very objective. And he normally, he's part of UDP. Everybody knows that he's Babala Commando, but most of the time you listen to Sabali's audio is about the country, about the interest of the country. And I just want to acknowledge that on this very noble platform. So it's really, I'm really happy, delighted to share this, a platform with him. But just to answer your question, in terms of the November 11th peaceful protest, that coalition of progressive governments, I think they announced this a couple of months ago, and they said they want to come out and protest peacefully. They applied for permit to the Inspector General of Police, and the reasons that they gave, I think, well known. We all heard what they said. Widespread corruption, that Barrow and his government, they're turning a blind eye to the in terms of tackling corruption. That is really one of the biggest problems that we're facing as a country now. Also, the hike in prices of commodities. We know inflation is double-digit right now. Cost of living is extremely high in the country. And they keep telling us this is a global problem. Yes, it's a global problem. I live in the UK. We know all over the world right now this economic hardship aggravated by the war in Ukraine. Prior to that, it was COVID-19. But these countries, most countries they are making efforts to try to mitigate the hardship on their people. In the Gambia, it's the opposite. Just 2 days ago, I was listening to Barrow when he invited the chiefs. And this is all tactical because he's trying to, he invited the chiefs knowing that these people want to protest. And in fact, he said something. He said, well, it is my duty to protect the peace and stability of this country. Barrow was just giving a message to the people that I would use brutal force to try to quell this peaceful demonstration. So he invited the Kives so that he could have their support to say that, well, I have invited you, I have told you people that I will do something, I will. But why did he keep quiet all along? Why now? Because Barrow is not making any efforts. Look, I listened to the finance minister, Sidi Keita, during that presentation, during that meeting. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard Sidi Keita praising Barrow. Barrow is serious about fiscal discipline, because, in fact, he even said Barrow did not go to the Commonwealth meeting in Rwanda because Barrow wants to save. The reason he wants to face public funds, he didn't want to spend money. That's a lie. Let's be objective here. Let's be truthful. That's not true. There's no iota of truth in that. Barrow went to New York, spent over $35 million. Salifu. Yeah. He hired a private jet. He took a huge delegation to New York. If Barrow was about saving the cost, he should have gone to the Commonwealth meeting in Rwanda. He wouldn't. There was no way he was going to spend $35 million in Rwanda. So CDK is coming out to tell people that, oh, Barrow doesn't want to spend money. It's not true. You see, this is a government that is well known. I'm sorry if these words come out like on your platform, Sedile is using words that he shouldn't use. But we have to be honest. In Gambia, when you say somebody's lying, they think that it's wrong. But the public officials should not lie to the people. Barrow's weekly daily food spending in State House, $150,000 is a day. And Adama Barrow himself salary with this salary increment, I show Barrow's salary wage slip $500 is if you add all the allowances to his basic salary. So there's no way that Barrow can convince people. And what effort is he doing trying to control corruption? Nobody has been tried. No one has been prosecuted. The only person that was taken to court was Bamba Banja, was used as scapegoat. And the Gam petroleum guys, and those people were acquitted and discharged by the court. So since Barrow took over the mantle of leadership in the Gambia, 6 years now, we're in the 6th year, no single person has been prosecuted for corruption. And the anti-corruption bill is there. It's not been passed. And look, people are fooled. Even the mere fact that they would pass the anti-corruption bill is not sufficient that the government will have. You can have the anti-corruption bill there, but when you don't have the political will, there's no political will on the side of Barrow. Recently, the party leader spoke, I think, one of the rallies about the impress, the outstanding impress. People like Lantombo Ntamba, Fatoumata Jahumbo Sise, the list goes on, Mamba Njai. All these people owe us millions, some of them, all right? Even if you owe the country 20,000, it's still like the party leader said, it's public money. How can Barrow be serious about fighting against corruption when the Auditor General, the Accountant General, published this list, gave it to the National Assembly, and Barrow went ahead, he ignored all that, and appointed these people in the diplomatic service, just because of political reasons, because Lantombo Ntamba supported Barrow in the fraudulent 2021 election. So this is why I'm saying that we are not serious. Adama Barrow is not serious, but I support the protest in the sense that it is a civic right of every Gambian. You, myself, Mamadou Sabali, anybody, according to Section 25D of the 1997 Constitution, Gambians have right to protest peacefully. What we would not support is anything that was violent, riots. If anybody wants to come out and destroy public property or private property in the country in the name of expressing their grievances or government policies, I'm sure Mamadou Sabali wouldn't support that. I wouldn't support that. You shouldn't support that. So the peaceful protest, and look, I read the fact that Barrow warned us before, Mr. Sonko. You know, before the election, he told us that when if he's declared,
I was going to come to that.
he would instruct the IGP not to give permit to anybody. So whatever
exactly,
is
so it's like like you said earlier, there is no political will. There's no political. So Mawali, can you please comment on this quickly? Because I remember there was a time when you used to be on Gis, you talked about the 3 years joint of protest and all that. And then that protest is everybody's right, that we all have rights to protest. But again, we have the police provoking protesters. This is what is happening, because when you have the police having to invite Bakausu, or let's say the State House inviting Bakausu's utterances and Barrow's utterances are all the same, to say that people have to go and venture into agriculture, that the hardship in the country, trying to downplay stuff that to make sure that people will be distracted from everything that is going on November 11th. What is your view of that, Mr. Samali?
Thank you, Salif. I think Mr. Sedili actually is hitting all the right notes, and whatever I'm saying here with just to maybe to amplify that a little bit. I'm really glad with the angle he took, because the fact is, to protest is not a crime; it's our constitutional right, and the issues that are being raised, the demands of the protesters, are legitimate 100%. There is outrageous, rampant corruption in this government, and Barrow is condoning it. Because, like Sedili said, the Auditor General came up with revelations, including alleged financial malpractices of worth more than $100 million at the health ministry. That's the same health minister he's retaining. The same health minister that presided over the murder of more than 63 Gambian babies. He's still retaining that guy. MCA is coming, trivializing the outcomes of the research results announced by Barrow himself. This is not a serious government. It's not a government who cares about the cost of living. The government does not care about the lives of Gambians. And the government is actually collaborating with the West to deport young Gambians whose travel to Europe was risky, and they contributed nothing there. So for Gambians to come out and protest, yes, Amit Sedili, they have the right to protest peacefully. Do we want violence and chaos? No, we are not encouraging or supporting anybody to come out and destroy public or private property or disturb the peace of the country in the name of protest. But peaceful protest is a fundamental democratic human rights, and Gambians should be allowed to protest if they should so want to. I mean, like you said, in the 3 years, 3 years, they were allowed to protest. Why can't you allow? What's the difference? In fact, the issues at heart now are even more critical and more pressing. Adama Barrow is not serious about running this country. He doesn't want to fight corruption. He's actually encouraging corruption. He's endangering the lives of babies through the negligence of his health minister. So if Gambians want to protest, they have every right to.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Sabali. And then, Mr. Sidili, again to you. Like Sabali have talked on the 66 babies that have died. And again, the police use the same strategy to say they are calling, even those that are holding press conference for questions. Are you not scared that we are moving back to the same status quo that we fight against 22 years ago?
Well, it is really it should be concerning, and it is really very unsettling, Mr. Sonko, to see that after we fought so hard to also in this newfound democracy, as we refer it to, now we are slowly sliding back to, signs of dictatorship, because you could see that I have in my hand here, Mr. Sonko, still talking about the protest, this November 11 protest. I have a document that the police released in regards to
exactly.
This document is dated on the 7th of September. I shared it on my Facebook wall. I shared it in WhatsApp groups. In fact, it is a document that if you go through it, it's really scary, because they plan to use 500 armed soldiers if things get out of hands. Like the army would be called upon. Where the army doesn't succeed, then they want to call on the community. Why go to this level? This is a peaceful protest. We have peaceful protests.
Exactly. This has been my point from the beginning. Like, I think there is serious provocations of protesters. This is what is happening. Like, they try to provoke the protesters to make them feel that you are very, very bad, labeling you to be a very bad citizen just because you said, I am challenging the system, that this is not right. My people deserve a better standard of living. That's all that you are saying. And then you will be labeled to say you are a very bad citizen. I think this is very, very
but Mr. Sonko, my problem is, why is Adama Barrow's government, why are they scared of people protesting? We see in Senegal, Senegalese will come out and protest. In Ghana, it happened. In fact, what happened in Ghana, we all saw it. The Inspector General of the Police of Ghana cautioned his men and women not to harm the protesters. He said it's their civic duty, it's their civic right for them to come out. This happened in Zambia and other countries where people came out and protested against the rising price of commodities. So this is normal for people to do. But my point is, they are trying, in fact, within their plan, Sonko, they want to use the strategy that they used to quell the 3-year Jotma, a peaceful demonstration a couple of years ago. They want to deploy people within this group who would start trouble, so that they can use that as an excuse to say now these protesters, the act has turned violent, so now they can use. So this is I have this document here. And that's
I've read
why.
it on your wall actually.
Yeah,
I've read
what
this
happened
document.
is when I mentioned this, they called the Coalition of Progressive Gambians and said to them, Sedili is lying. In fact, that forced me to publish this because they told them they haven't signed any document. In fact, they said the IGP is not in the country. And I was very angry. And I said, now I'm going to publish this document because I just read it on Bantaba and I made references. I read out the names and that's why I published. So what is going to happen? In fact, Sabali lamented on something, Sonko. That is the deportees. Next, in fact, coincidentally, the day of protest, we have some people being deported from Germany. There are a lot of Gambians on the 11th. There's a special scheduled flight from Germany. Gambians being deported. I spoke to a member, and in fact, the wife spoke to me. This person is worried. He's been in Germany for many years, but now he's going to be deported. And these people are so angry. They said, okay, when we arrive, we will also join the protesters because the government is not protecting us. And we would, I don't know what time the flight will land in the Gambia, but it's on the 11th of November, the flight will land. So what is Barrow doing? I listened to Sabali's audio. We have got a sports minister, Bakari Baji, whose wife was caught red-handed, paid his wife per diem illegally. In fact, in the first place, the wife should not have been paid. But what is even more disgusting was to see him trying to steal our money because the wife did not have the visa to come to England, but he went ahead and paid the wife per diem to come to Birmingham. Yeah. But the wife did not come to Birmingham. The wife went to Turkey. If I had not leaked that letter, he wouldn't have come out publicly to say that. But what we heard was, we don't know whether he paid the money. We are still investigating. He promised to pay the money. So there's a lot of corruption in this government, Sonko. This widespread corruption in this government. So Gambians do have right to come out peacefully. But what we want to warn the government, I want to advise Adama Barrow and his men. If we have any casualties on the 11th, Barrow will be held to account, fully responsible. Because this document is out. This is why I leaked this document, so that it could be in public domain. They have already premeditated. This is a premeditated plan. They have already thought of this plan. They have hatched this plan to harm peaceful, loving. Look, what is more peaceful than somebody requesting for a permit? And you know what? This is why I blame our National Assembly members, Sonko. Yeah. We wouldn't have been in this mess if our MPs had done their job. This Public Order Act should have been repealed. They should have repealed this Public Order Act so that we don't need any police permit. Why should one citizen, IGP, deny 2 million plus Gambians from exercising their civic right? Does that make sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah, there we go.
It doesn't. It doesn't. So, Mr. Sedili. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you well, loud.
So, like, all indications, and again, we have the Justice Minister saying in the National Assembly, when you heard this, Stephen, how do you feel like the whistleblowers now, they will try to make sure that they see people that are trying to leak these documents out to the press and out to people like you that will post this on their walls? Yeah. So, how do you feel when you heard this?
It is shameful.
Shameful,
yeah, very shameful to see Dauda Jallo announce that they will come out, they will enact laws to deal with whistleblowers. In any advanced democracy, we have the whistleblowers. We have whistleblowers in England. We have whistleblowers in the United States, most advanced countries, because whistleblowers, they are not doing this because they have something against the government, but because they see wrong things that they are not happy. So they have to contact us. And no amount of laws that would be enacted can stop whistleblowers. They're just wasting their time. They can come up with any sort of stringent laws, Mr. Sonko, because these whistleblowers are also very careful in how they send this information to us. So when I read this on Sabali's wall, I laughed because I know this is a desperate attempt. And you know what? If you are transparent, Sonko, why should you be worried about whistleblowers? If this government is a clean government, and they shouldn't, because public information, like Bakari Baji paid his wife per diem, should be public information.
Yeah,
it is taxpayers' money. Yeah. Okay, so this just shows you that how Barrow said here before election, Barrow bugut lendem. Barrow bugut lendem. So Barrow is transparent, Barrow is clean. But what this shows that Barrow wants lendem. All right, that's what it shows. Because if you are now so desperate, they are so frustrated with likes of myself, Mamadou Sabali. In fact, this is why they are trying to put this law suit against Mamadou Sabali in a bid to silence him using Abubakar Jawara. So they are
I was actually going to ask you about that. When you saw Abubakar Jawara's lawsuit, like what was your first reaction like? Because like I was never expecting any lawsuit from Abubakar Jawara. He's threatened to take people to court. I remember there was a media outlet, if you could recall, last year that he actually threatened. Even Mr. Ben Suare once mentioned that Abubakar Jawara always try to send people to him to make sure. She said that they are trying to tarnish his image. But what Abubakar Jawara fails to understand is that, like, as far as you win public contracts, you should be scrutinized. The manner and the ways that you win these contracts, it's of public interest. But if bidding processes are being bent for you, you win contracts, you think people are going to sit outside and watch you. Like nobody hate him. So what was your reaction like when?
No,
when
I wasn't surprised because I know. You see, let me tell you one thing. I'm not just trying to blow Sabali's trumpet. These people are more worried about Mamadou Sabali than even our MPs. Let me tell you, this government, they are more worried about the utterances of Mamadou Sabali than our lawmakers. So they know Sabali is well informed. They know Sabali has got the pedigree in the sense that he served at the highest level of government. In fact, this is why they did everything to stop Sabali from being elected as MP. So they know his potentials. They know that he has a lot of following, particularly among the youths. And he is somebody, when he speaks, a lot of Gambians listen to him. So now, Barrow tried it here with Madi Jabate when he said during that, what was it even? Was it Korite or one of the...
It was India, yeah.
Yeah, he attacked Madi Jabate, saying, the government will not sit down and watch the likes of Madi Jabate spoiling our country. And that actually, the reaction from social media, international reaction, actually made them backpedal a little bit. And they said, no, this is not good for the image of our government. So now, if you look at it, there was a time one NPP supporter made an audio and said, they've advised Barrow if he wants to govern Gambia peacefully, he needs to cake the likes of MC Cham Jr., Sabali, and Madi Jabate. So now they tried with Madi Jabate, that failed. Now the next target is Mamadou Sabali. So to say that now they calculated this. Okay, you can silence him, say it's defamation of character. Let's go to the courts. You charge him, file a lawsuit of $8 million. So this is all, politically motivated, in my view. It's all politically motivated. But Abubakar Jawara should be very careful because if you live in a glass house, you should not throw stones at others. Because Abubakar Jawara, with if you look at all indications, clear that he is not a clean guy. This is a guy that, is it 2018, 2019? There was a news. In fact, the former IGP of police, the late Mahmoud Job, may his soul continue to rest in peace. His office announced that he imported guns that he didn't get license coverage. So that is criminal act. That's an act that was wrong. So you are not clean. And now you want to sue somebody. And Abubakar Jawara also, in an interview, we have got audios. We have video footage. He confessed that when he was deported when he came from Angola, he went and forged his date of birth. He said this in an interview with Lamin Jai. These videos are there. You are not clean. So these are the things that Mamadou Sabali keeps referencing to, that this guy is not clean, he's so close to the president and all that. So that's not defamation of character. So now that the matter is before the courts, I think the sitting should start on the 14th of November. We are watching it closely. And what we are calling on Gambians to do, whatever Mamadou Sabali is doing today, he's not doing it. If Mamadou Sabali wanted to be rich, he would have been rich. Let's face it. He was Secretary General. He was the most powerful minister in Gambia at the time. He had direct connection with a businessman. He could have used his office to get wealth in that country. But because of his love for country, now he is still, and he's been, how many times did Barrow's people follow Mamadou Sabali to join NPP? If Mamadou Sabali joined NPP today, he would be a minister. You know that. Mamadou Sabali would be given a ministerial job if he joined NPP before. But now he's doing this for love for country. So what I want to appeal to the youths and the Gambians on the ground, let's go and show solidarity in Mamadou Sabali. Those in the diaspora, we put our hands together and definitely fight. Because when the matter is before the judge, then we have no say in that. The judge will have to decide. Judge will have to give the verdict. Mamadou Sabali would have his legal team. and Bakar Jawara will have his legal team. We'll be closely monitoring this. But what we can do as citizens, like we did in Bob Keita's case, Bob Keita, the public opinion and the reaction of the public contributed a lot for this guy to see his freedom. If Gambians had stood by and watched Bob's case, I bet he would have been jailed. Let me tell you one thing. The reason why they transferred the case from Bundung Magistrate Court to the High Court is because of the reaction from the public. So let's show Mamadou Sabally. Let's give Mamadou Sabally the same support. So that's what I will be calling. I've been calling for this on Bantaba, and I will keep doing it. On the 14th of November is a very important day. Let's go and show it. Abubakar Jawara is a close confidant of Adama Barrow. He is filthy rich. But then when matter is before the courts, we expect the judges, whoever is going to handle that case, the person to be impartial and then give the verdict in the true meaning of the word. We don't want any political, manipulation. We don't want, because Mamadou Sabally cannot be silenced. We know that. All right. Yeah. But once they start with Mamadou Sabally, the next thing is they will go to Keba Sabally, they will go to Sehu Sedili, they will go to Janaba Mas, all the criminals.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody, including yourself in the media. They will say, oh, people who criticize us and bring that somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, Mr. Sedili. It's supposed to be an hour interview, but we've exceeded that. It's quite a very, very interesting discussion.
No worries.
I think we would wrap it up here. So what are your final words? What would you advise your big brother, Arabara? Because I know Arabara is your brother. So what would you advise him when it comes to this hardship that he's facing?
Mr. Sonko, very briefly, thank you for having me here. And always, I want to say this, always feel free to invite me because we need to amplify our messages across different networks. And this is a network that I have a lot of regard for this network because you guys always talk about issues. You don't personalize stuff, which is good. I listen to your news review, which is quite good. So what I would like to say is, seriously, in my view, Adama Barrow doesn't have what it takes to lead Gambia to the promised land. Sonko, we haven't even started crawling yet. Much more to work. Gambia hasn't started anything. Look at this 6 years. What development has this government brought? The OIC summit has failed. they were laying foundation stones prior to the election, or want to construct, want to do, but nothing. Just the other day, I read in the news, it's a standard 700 students without classrooms. But Barrow told us that he built 3,000 classrooms. And this is what people like Coach Pasambaja and others ask, what happened to Barrow's 3,000 classrooms? Now when 700 Gambians don't have access to a classroom, this is very sad. Our economy is in doldrums. Our inflation rate is 13.8%. The dollar is depreciating fast. Cost of living, the feeder roads, poor feeder roads in the country. The airport tax, the airport security thing is illegal. When we travel to the Gambia, we pay $1,000 inbound. Outbound. It doesn't happen in any airport in the South region, only Gambia. So what we are saying is we want to appeal to the Gambians. It's not about United Democratic Party. Not everybody can subscribe to the ideas of UDP, but let's have an alternative. Let's do everything, particularly this mayoral election that's coming. Let's try and elect right candidates. And we have right candidates in the United Democratic Party. Adama Barrow cannot rule that Gambia. He doesn't have the intellect. And he, in my view, apart from the intellect, he doesn't have the honesty and the love for country. Because if Barrow loves that country, certainly what happened at the health ministry now, Samati would have been sacked. Which Macky Sall sacked his health minister after 11 babies died due to fire. We have 70 plus babies. And in fact, I'm very happy. I read in the news that the victims returned that $1 million that they gave to them. That's an insult. They returned the money, which is good. Because look, the finance minister just bought himself a brand new car, Prado, $2 million, CDK, just recently. And now you give victims 70 plus just 1 million. So what I want young people like you, let's come together and save our country. Barrow, we should do everything within the remit of democracy. Like I don't subscribe to violence, like Mamadou Sabally said, but peacefully, let's do everything together so that we can have a better leader that can rule the Gambia for peace, progress, and development. Sonko, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sedili. It's an honor having you. Quite half an hour interview. I've learned a lot from you, Mr. Sedili. Thank you.
No worries, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it
Thank
was not
you.
difficult having you as well. It was so easy for facilitating this interview. We are honored. So yeah, that is all that we have for you viewers in this edition of the SGN Week in Depth. We join us next week with a very interesting guest. We have reviews of what happened during the week. So that's all that we have for you. Bye bye from my end. Thank you.